The email hit her inbox at exactly 9:15 a.m. Ayanna Brooks wasn't expecting anything special when she opened her laptop that morning. Her job search had become a cycle of disappointment, sending out resumes, waiting, getting rejected, and repeating the process all over again. It had been a month of silent dismissals, vague emails, and "we've decided to move in another direction" messages. But today was different. Today, an email sat at the top of her inbox with the subject line: Job offer, Senior Data Analyst position at Crestfield Tech Solutions. Ayanna froze. Her pulse quickened as she clicked it open. Dear Rebecca Sterling, congratulations. We are pleased to offer you the position of Senior Data Analyst at Crestfield Tech Solutions. Your qualifications and experience are outstanding, and we believe you will be an excellent addition to our team. Please review the attached offer letter and confirm your availability for onboarding next Monday. We look forward to working with you. Best regards, Jessica Langford, Hiring Manager, Crestfield Tech Solutions, ***. She read it twice, then a third time. Her breath was steady, but her mind raced, piecing together the brutal reality. Rebecca Sterling wasn't real. She had created Rebecca Sterling. A fake email. A modified resume. A white woman's AI-generated face. And just like that, an instant job offer. But 3 weeks ago, when Ayanna Brooks, a real highly qualified black woman in a wheelchair, had applied for the same job? Rejected. No interview. No second look. Just a cold, impersonal dismissal. Her stomach twisted. A mix of anger, disbelief, and bitter satisfaction swirled inside her. They didn't even try to hide it. They saw Rebecca Sterling and jumped to yes. They saw Ayanna Brooks and decided no. The double standard was laid out in black and white, literally. Ayanna clenched the arms of her wheelchair. They thought they had found their perfect candidate. They thought they were welcoming Rebecca Sterling into their company. They had no idea what was coming. The memory of that day played in her mind like an old recording. She had arrived at Crestfield Tech's headquarters fully prepared, confident, and ready to prove her worth. She had spent the morning polishing her portfolio, reviewing company data, and rehearsing answers to potential interview questions. Her resume was strong. Her experience was undeniable. She had everything they were looking for. Yet the moment she rolled into that interview room, she had felt it. The hesitation. The stiffness in Jessica Langford's handshake. The flicker of doubt in the panel's eyes. They asked her questions, routine, polite, safe. She answered them with precision, articulating her strategies for data analysis, problem-solving, and innovation. Jessica had nodded along, taking notes, smiling in all the right places. But there was something behind that smile. Something unspoken. Something ugly. By the end of the interview, Ayanna had known. They weren't going to hire her. She had seen it too many times before, the way people assessed her with 2 strikes before she even opened her mouth. Strike 1, she was black. Strike 2, she was in a wheelchair. By the next morning, the rejection email had arrived. Dear Ms. Brooks, thank you for your application. After careful consideration, we have decided to move forward with another candidate. We appreciate your interest and wish you success in your job search. It had been infuriating but not surprising. She had stared at the email, her jaw tightening. And then, a dangerous idea had sparked in her mind. The birth of Rebecca Sterling. The experiment had started as a test. An angry, reckless, brilliant test. She created a new email, rebecca.sterling89@gmail.com. She tweaked her resume, not by changing her credentials, but by removing every cultural marker that could hint at her race. No diversity leadership programs. No black student organizations from her college days. Just cold, impersonal qualifications. For a profile picture, she used an AI-generated image of a smiling white woman with auburn hair and blue eyes. And then she submitted the same application. Within 24 hours, she had an interview invitation. Within 48 hours, she had a job offer. No hesitation. No questions. Just instant acceptance. And that was the moment Ayanna knew. They never saw her as a bad fit. They just never wanted her in the first place. Now, Crestfield Tech expected Rebecca Sterling to show up on Monday. Ayanna smiled coldly as she shut her laptop. They were going to meet her all right. And they were never going to forget it. Ayanna had never been one to let injustice slide. But today wasn't just about her. It was about every black woman who had been overlooked, every person with a disability who had been dismissed before they even had a chance. She adjusted the lapels of her sharp black blazer, checked her makeup one last time in the car mirror, and then rolled her wheelchair up the sleek glass entrance of Crestfield Tech Solutions. The moment she entered, the energy in the room shifted. The receptionist, a young woman with tight blonde curls, blinked in confusion. Can I help you? Ayanna smiled. I have a meeting with Jessica Langford. The receptionist glanced at her computer, then at Ayanna's face, then back at the screen. Her fingers hesitated over the keyboard. Your name? Ayanna chuckled softly, letting the tension build. Letting them sweat. You won't find my name on that list, she said, tilting her head. But try this one, Rebecca Sterling. The receptionist's eyes widened slightly, but she recovered quickly, pressing the intercom. Ms. Langford? There's a Miss Sterling here to see you. Silence. Then the intercom crackled. Send her in. The receptionist gestured toward the frosted glass doors at the end of the hall. Last office on the left. Ayanna rolled forward, her heart steady, her expression composed. This was her moment. Jessica Langford was standing when Ayanna entered. Her professional mask almost held, but Ayanna saw the split second of horror in her eyes. Ms. Brooks? Jessica stammered, her fingers tightening around the edge of her desk. Ayanna closed the door behind her with deliberate slowness, then turned to face the hiring manager. No, she said smoothly. You were expecting Rebecca Sterling? Jessica's mouth opened, but no words came out. Ayanna rolled forward and placed her phone on the desk. With a single tap, she pulled up the email. She read it out loud, her voice crisp and measured. Dear Rebecca Sterling, we are pleased to offer you the position of Senior Data Analyst. She looked up, pinning Jessica with a stare that didn't blink. Funny, she mused. Because 3 weeks ago, Ayanna Brooks, same resume, same qualifications, same experience, applied for this job and was told she wasn't the right fit. Jessica's face was pale now. I'm sure there's a misunderstanding. Ayanna leaned in slightly. Oh, there's no misunderstanding, Ms. Langford. You saw a black woman in a wheelchair and assumed I wasn't capable. But when I applied again, same credentials, only this time as a white woman, suddenly I was perfect for the job. Jessica forced a nervous laugh. I assure you, our hiring process is completely fair. Is it? Ayanna cut in. Then explain it to me. Right now. How was Rebecca Sterling, a woman who does not even exist, more qualified than Ayanna Brooks? Jessica shifted uncomfortably. I wasn't the only one making hiring decisions. Oh, trust me, I know, Ayanna said coolly. That's why I made sure to record everything. Jessica's eyes snapped to Ayanna's phone. Her hands clenched at her sides. Excuse me, she said, her voice quieter now, laced with panic. Ayanna tapped her screen again. The audio played loud and clear. She seems qualified, but I don't know. Something's just off. Maybe not the right fit for our culture. And that wheelchair, would she even be able to handle a fast-paced environment like ours? Jessica froze. Ayanna let the words linger. Sound familiar? She asked, her voice like steel. Jessica opened her mouth, then closed it. Her face was a storm of emotions, shock, guilt, fear. The office was silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. Before Jessica could scramble for an excuse, Ayanna pushed open the door to the main office. The room was full. Employees were watching. Ayanna raised her voice just enough for them all to hear. I was rejected for this job because I am black and in a wheelchair. Murmurs. Gasp. Some people turned to Jessica, whose face was now a deep shade of red. Jessica stumbled forward, her voice shaky. That is not true? Not true? Ayanna arched an eyebrow. Then why did you immediately offer the job to Rebecca Sterling when I applied again with the exact same resume? Jessica opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Ayanna let the silence do the damage. Finally, one of the senior executives stood up. Is this true? He asked, his voice sharp. His eyes drilled into Jessica. She swallowed hard. I don't know how this happened, she tried, her voice weak. Ayanna tilted her head. That's the problem, Ms. Langford. You do know how it happened. You just didn't think you'd get caught. More murmurs. Some employees were whispering now, glancing between Jessica and Ayanna. The senior executive crossed his arms. This is a serious issue. We'll need to investigate immediately. Jessica's face fell. She knew what that meant. She was done. By the time Ayanna left Crestfield Tech Solutions that afternoon, the entire office was in an uproar. The whispers in the halls turned into heated discussions. Employees who had been in the dark about the company's biases were now forced to confront an ugly truth. The diversity and inclusion team, which had always been more of a PR stunt than an actual effort, was suddenly called into emergency meetings. HR sent out generic damage control emails about how Crestfield deeply valued fairness and equality, but it was too late. Jessica Langford was placed on immediate administrative leave. By the end of the week she was gone. No grand announcement. No farewell party. Just a quiet, red-faced departure, her box of office supplies clutched tightly as she walked out the door. And Ayanna? She sat back and watched a system that had tried to bury her collapse under its own weight. 2 days after Jessica's exit, Ayanna's phone buzzed with an unexpected call. "Ms. Brooks," a smooth voice greeted her. "This is Daniel Carter, Senior Vice President at Crestfield Tech. We've been reviewing everything that happened, and we'd like to personally extend an apology and an offer." Ayanna's eyebrows lifted slightly. "An offer?" "Yes," Daniel continued. "We recognize the mistake that was made in the hiring process, and we'd like to offer you the position you originally applied for. Senior Data Analyst. With a salary increase and a direct report to upper management." There it was. The company scrambling to save face. Ayanna let a beat of silence pass before answering. "Mr. Carter," she said slowly, "tell me something. If I had never exposed what happened, would you have reached out to me?" The silence on the other end of the line spoke volumes. Finally, Daniel let out a forced chuckle. "Well, I can't say for sure, but—" "That's all I needed to hear," Ayanna interrupted. Her voice was calm, but there was steel beneath it. Another pause. "So, you're declining the offer?" "That's right." More silence. Then Daniel exhaled. "I understand. If there's anything else we can do—" "There is," Ayanna said smoothly. "Fix your hiring process. And next time, don't wait for a scandal to do it." She hung up. At first, Ayanna hadn't planned on sharing her story. But then she thought about all the other highly qualified black women who had been dismissed, all the disabled professionals who never even got a chance. So she wrote a post. She detailed everything: the rejection, the fake application, the hiring bias, and the confrontation. She ended it with, "If you have to pretend to be someone else just to be seen as worthy, then the problem isn't you. The problem is the system." She posted it and went to bed. By morning it had 100,000 shares. By the end of the week it had millions. News outlets picked up the story. Major corporations were called out for their own hiring biases. Other professionals shared their own experiences of being unfairly rejected. It wasn't just about Ayanna anymore. It was about everyone who had ever been overlooked. And the world was finally paying attention. With the spotlight on her, recruiters from major companies flooded Ayanna's inbox. This time she had choices. Companies that genuinely valued diversity reached out. CEOs wanted to meet with her. Organizations asked her to speak at conferences about discrimination in hiring. For the first time, she didn't have to beg to be seen. She got to decide. And when she finally accepted a job, it was with a company that didn't just talk about inclusion, they proved it. Months later, as she settled into her new office, a corner one with a view, her phone buzzed with another notification. It was a news article about Crestfield Tech Solutions. Crestfield Tech implements new hiring policy after scandal. She chuckled. It was funny how fast companies changed when their reputation was on the line. Shaking her head, she leaned back in her chair and took a deep breath. She had won. But more importantly, she had changed the game.